on, let me switch over to my headset. Hello? Yeah. Yo, Rook. Oh, go ahead, do your intro. Yeah. Yeah, I'll retweet it. Yeah, 2 hours. 2 hours sounds great because I need to go up to my future job and get that all sorted. I think I'm gonna take today off from streaming. Oh, are you live now? Okay. And suddenly, yeah. Hang on. CAD, P, and a hazmat. Hang on. Talking about motion inputs. There we go. Me and CAD talking about them fighting games. Actually, that would. I shouldn't say them fighting games because people get confused that with them fighting. About the punchy games. I'm gonna have to. I need to use the PP room. What the heck is this? Why anime arena fighters get no respect? Is that what we're watching? What the fuck? So imagine you live in 2020 and you play Fortnite. Like imagine being that person. And there's not an NPC. Alright, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go use the PP room. In the morning, got myself some orange juice. I am ready. Oh. Did you have issues with the video? Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, yes, I did know that. Yes, I did. Um, what was I gonna say?
Was so strict for these special moves.
I think it's gone. I forgot. Oh, yes, I am at the beginning, and now I remember what I was going to say. We need to do a sync test since I'm in the middle U.S. and you're in the Philippines. You know how to do it, right? Okay, so I'm going to count to 4, and then you say 4 at the exact same time as me. Oh snap! There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people in this watch together. Oh, yeah, those people that aren't actually. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's about a second and a half, maybe 2 seconds, which is not good. Go ahead and do your side. 4. Really? You were in time? I said 4 at the exact same time as you. Hang on, I'll go again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's a little better. That's like about a full second. Okay, so oh, it's because I actually have good internet now. I have 350 down and 25 up. That's why I've been streaming. um, it's probably because people are like watching Netflix and stuff, using all the bandwidth. Ping for what? Ugh. Oh, dude, I bet. Like, I play online games too. Well, the only two online games I really play are Street Fighter Five and Apex Legends, and sometimes some SmashNet play. SmashNet plays peer to peer, so it's really all about how close you are. It's full delay based net code. I have a friend in Chicago I play with, and it's really not that bad. It almost practically feels offline, especially now that Melee has rollback. Like, uh, no. I'm in Nashville, Tennessee. Um, yeah, City of Music. But I was in redneck ass the state of Louisiana, which is just got rampaged by a hurricane. Oh, I can hear you. Make sure on OBS that your mic isn't muted.
Okay, chat, can you hear me now? I'm so sorry. This is the second time this happened. Okay, guys, can you hear me now? Type type A. Type A if you can hear me, not F. Oh god, no. Shit. What the fuck? I should be popping out. Yeah, I'm popping out. It should be showing up on the... Guys, can you hear me? Type A. Type A if you can hear me, please. I need this.
I need this.
Thank you, thank you. Alright, so, without... Actually, we should actually go over a bit about the history of this, right? Because there's... You ever heard of Bilbzy, Ramsar?
Bubsy. I have not.
Bilbzy is basically
Dubsy.
this... Bilbzy, he's like
Wait,
this...
Bubsy or Dubsy?
Bilbzy. Bilbzy.
Wait, B-U-B? Bubsy? Like
No.
Bubsy 3D?
No. Bilb. Bill. And then it's like Bilbzy.
I have not.
He's essentially this Australian YouTuber. He's like
Okay.
he calls himself like a fighting games fan, even though majority of his content has been focused on like arena fighters. Now,
Okay.
if you don't know, I've actually covered him on like my previous streams before, and he's had a history of like hating motion inputs. He's essentially talked about how...
Oh my god.
Dude, he's essentially talked about how like let's see. They feel like they make it harder for people to get into fighting games, and he's made a suggestion at one point where they should have like just have like one button special moves, and he's even made a suggestion of like using the right stick on using the right analog stick on a gamepad in order to use it as like a special move. And then
Wait, just play Smash Bros.
Yeah, and it's like even like it kind of comes off as like the thing is, even I find that weird, like having to switch from like buttons to stick, because it's like it sounds like you know how people tend to argue about like gamepad versus like keyboard and mouse when it comes to first person shooters.
Yeah, absolutely.
How like you need to sacrifice your aim in order to do an action.
Well, actually, let me actually add a little bit more to that. So when it comes to, because I'm really well versed on this, when it comes to a thumbstick versus a mouse and keyboard, a thumbstick you have to excuse me. A thumbstick you have to on the rags. Except I don't say bilch. A thumbstick you have to sacrifice between either you have to choose between either high sensitivity or low sensitivity. High sensitivity's pros are that you can like aim pretty much anywhere and you can do like 180 flicks and stuff. But the con is that you cannot aim precisely because one little slightest tap of the stick will send you flying off in one direction. Low sensitivity will help you hit those precise shots, but you can't, do like 90 degrees and like 180 flicks. Where with a mouse, you just get it all.
Yeah. That oof. I still remember like the only time I played like an FPS on console was when I played like Black on the PS2. And that never felt comfortable to me, especially when like I used to play a lot of like Counter-Strike with friends back when I was in grade school.
Mm-hmm.
So
oh, nice.
just
yeah, CS is awesome.
Yeah.
Wait, you played CS on controller?
No, not in controller. On like I used to go to computer shops and play with like friends with keyboard and mouse.
Okay. I actually got to I was at DreamHack Dallas, and afterwards we went to a LAN cafe, and it was like a 5v5, like up on a stage playing Counter-Strike. It was sick. I got carried.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it seems awkward because what I was getting at is essentially it's kind of like that, where the thing about motion inputs is that it allows you to do special attacks without having to sacrifice movement, without having to force yourself into a position where you have to move
almost you're a charge character.
Yeah, move your thumb from like from like a button to a stick. It's so
the only like slight counter argument you can make to that is Claw, because I claw when I use a controller, especially when I play Smash. I've clawed for as long as I can remember. I double claw actually.
Oh, that sounds so uncomfortable.
Dude, I mean, I've gotten used to it. I've been using claw since Halo 3, man, and Call of Duty 4 way back in the day in like 2008. I've got my thumb on the stick, so it's constantly on the stick.
Dude,
My pointer finger on the face buttons, and then my middle finger on like the trigger and like the R1, R2.
dude, my favorite character in like Devil May Cry 5 is Nero, and he relies on charge shot. And I like to rely a lot on charge shot for like high damaging combos. And it's like, fuck having to use the claw. I just reassigned the gun button to like R2.
Oh, nice. Yeah, sometimes you can just like reassign things and it'll work better.
Yeah, 'cause it's like fuck that.
In fact,
Fuck
go
claw.
ahead.
It's just fuck. Claw.
I mean, I love Claw. I think it's like objectively superior. But speaking of DMC, I was actually playing a bit of DMC 4 recently, and good game.
Yeah,
I don't really have any else other to say about it.
I'd say the level design is meh. I guess as an overall package, it's somewhere 50-50 because you have like Bloody Palace at least. Especially with if you have like the special edition, so you have like Bloody Palace, and then you have all the characters. You have a lot of characters actually, and then you just because of the tech that's present in like DMC4, there's just so much you can learn, and it's just
yeah, I've heard that game can actually get pretty technical.
Yeah, that's kind of where you get like the longevity of the game, the replayability.
Yeah, I've seen combo videos and stuff. The game looks sick.
Yeah, because like the problem with like DMC4, DMC4 has a really shit campaign. That's really just the campaign kills it. The campaign utterly kills it. You do unless you're.
I mean, I've been enjoying it so far.
The problem is it gets repetitive, really repetitive. You're going back and forth. You're going from point A to point B as Nero. And then as Dante, you go from point B to point A.
Oh, lol! You play the whole game in reverse as Dante? I think I actually heard about that.
Yeah, that's a thing that happens. And the worst part is when you play as like Trish or Lady and even Virgil, you also go from like point A to B. So it's like, what the fuck? Yeah, Xander, you fight nearly every three boss. You fight nearly every boss 3 times in DMC4. It's not even like DMC1 where you're fighting 3 bosses only, or you're fighting 3 bosses throughout like most of the time. But at least they're designed differently. Their encounters are designed differently. Like you don't get that from like DMC4, unlike in DMC1.
I've heard that DMC 1 and 3 are. I've heard 3 is the best.
Oh yeah,
or is it 5? I know you made it.
3 is definitely one of the best. Because the thing about
no, that's not what I asked. I asked what is the best.
The best because 5 is where I'm really getting into it, and I'd say the thing about 3 is you don't really have style switching, which. The moment you have like style switching, it really opens up like Dante's pool, because he had it since 4. That's what, and people really love the fuck out of like style switching, which is why
Wait, you're talking about DMC, the DMC style switching?
No. I'm talking about DMC4. DMC4 introduced style switching with Dante. That's where he got really, really buffed, and that's one of his most significant buffs since 3. It got so popular that people modded Style Switcher into like the DMC3. Yeah,
because I've only played a little bit of DMC4, and I've played a shit ton of DMC the DMC.
Yeah, DMC, like I haven't really finished it. I kind of dropped off at the part where they were talking about how they use squirrel semen to open demon portals.
Bro,
I was like,
I'm gonna say something super controversial that all diehard DMC fans like hate. I think I'll even claim it so it can be contended with, and I won't be like, oh, it's my opinion. DMC the DMZ is like objectively not only a good game, but it actually has a good story too.
Writing is
Yeah, I fucking said it.
the writing is a little bit pretentious. In terms of a
I
game,
fucking said
I
it.
think it's fair to say that it's okay as an action game. But then the problem is you have
No, dude, it's incredible as an action game. It's actually minus the bosses. The bosses are fucking filth, horrible, disgusting pieces of shit. Fuck the bosses. They suck dick.
the bosses are very repetitive.
Yeah, they're horrible.
I'd say the thing is like you have these other games that just end up doing the combat and like the predecessors end up being better or aging better. So then it's like, well, maybe except for like 1, 2, most people don't.
I've heard 2 is shit.
Yeah, people don't count 2, DMC 2. So
Who knows? Maybe my opinion will change when I play DMC 3 or in DMC 5 because I've heard 5 is amazing and so is 3.
5 actually, what happens is 5 with 5. I think it's fair to say that they kind of lowered the skill ceiling, but it's still
Oh, that sucks.
at the cost of they reduced the skill floor while slightly reduce. I don't know the gravity of how high the skill ceiling of how much of the skill ceiling was reduced, but in fairness, there's still a decent amount of depth. I'd say the only thing that people missed the most was like the inertia mechanics that 4 had. Because the thing was like
Don't quite know.
I don't remember the details as well, but essentially with like
Is it narrow or nothing?
it's actually with everyone. It's a universal mechanic. Because the thing with 5, whenever you do like say jumping back forward attack with like Nero, and then you jump, you don't move forward after you jump. You kind of just jump in place.
Okay. Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yes.
And then I think with like a 5, if like say you're holding, or sorry, with DMC 4, let's say you do like the air streak, and what's this? You jump forward. What happens is that you still maintain the momentum that you had from your forward streak, from your jumping streak.
Got it.
I think that's kind of how the air inertia mechanics went with like 4. So then because of that, you were able to like keep your opponent to get a lot of airtime with your opponent.
Dude, I still have no idea how to do air combos in 4. I can do them in DMC the DMC, but I cannot do them in 4. But that's because I barely played any. How many hours?
I also forgot. I also forgot because I haven't played 3 in a while. In DMC 3, back then, you only had like you could only carry 2 melee weapons and 2 guns. Unlike in and then in DMC 4, you basically had like 3 melee weapons and then 3 ranged weapons. And then in 5, you can essentially get up to 8 melee weapons and like 4.
I mean, you can in DMC the DMC. You have the main sword, the 2 lights, and then the 2 mediums. The 2 heavies. That's 5, and then 3 guns.
Yeah, I think one of the things that people didn't like also about DMC was how originally when the game was originally released, they had like how like there are angels and demons, and then they were color coded. Yeah. It kind of just became disruptive because then you were forced to switch, and you were forced to play certain weapons rather than like because what people really love about DMC is expression. You had to be stylish.
Okay, I can see that point.
You have to be stylish in order to increase your score, but there's a lot of freeform expression, like just being forced to like hit enemies.
Only use heavy attacks or only use light attacks. I can see that
really
as
stops
a bad
flow.
trait.
Yeah.
Especially on harder difficulty. Especially because I'm playing on the hardest difficulty. The last time I played. And they separate those 2 a lot, and it turns from like because I can do some pretty swag combos in DMC the DMC because you have the angel hook and the demon hook. The angel hook like pulls you to it, and the demon hook pulls it to you, and you can do like sweet things where you can like stop it, and then you can do like an uppercut and chase, or you can press Y to like launch them. It's like there's a lot of different things you can do. Like I'm telling you, the DMC is fucking dope. But I will agree with you that it's got a flaw where like, okay, playing on a hard difficulty and then it'll throw like, 3 like red enemies at you mixed in with like 3 blue enemies. It's like, okay, I don't have to like do a couple hits with these, run away, do a couple of hits with these, run away, do a couple because you don't really like you're not really comboing. It's kind of like a Zelda enemy. I completely agree with you. 100%.
Yeah. But actually, anyway, we're kind of getting behind because it's like 30 minutes already since we streamed. We should get on with the video. Thankfully, it's like only like
Yeah.
Actually, it's fairly shorter because there's like an Gerald has like an ad for Audible near the end of this video, which is kind of the nice thing, at least. Because
I've been using Audible to listen to the real Star Wars sequels, and they're pretty good. I definitely everyone in chat. I recommend the Thrawn trilogy. If you didn't like the Disney sequels, give the real sequels a shot. They're pretty good.
All right. Anyway, that's oh, his mic is way too loud. Let me just.
My mic is way too loud. I mean, I have a
No. It's my Discord. I can fix that on my Discord.
Okay. I have an XLR mic with a fucking interface, a preamp. I can just turn the gain down if need be.
Well, on your end, it's fine. I just needed to lower your volume on Discord.
Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. This is your
Actually, I think
testing.
I think you're fine right now. But let's get started. There we go.
Motion inputs are really hard to do in Street Fighter 1. The timing was so strict for these special moves that they almost felt like cheat codes because if you managed to pull it off, the damage would be ridiculous.
So, one thing that people brought up in like the comments from what I've noticed, it's not actually that hard in Street Fighter 1. The thing about Street Fighter 1 from what I've read a bit, it apparently uses negative edge buffers. So for people,
you just hold and release.
Yeah, so for people who don't know, what that essentially means is if you want to do Hadouken as Ryu, you have to hold the punch button, and then you had to do the motion for Hadouken and then release. Which is kind of, it's a little bit weird, but it's possible to do them essentially.
I mean, that's negative edge. I'm used to it.
Essentially, it's possible to do them consistently. Also, I only know this because of High Score Girl. I watched High Score Girl, the anime about...
Oh, dude, I've actually heard that show is sick.
Yeah, I love it. I love the fuck out of it. And essentially in Street Fighter 1, originally, you only had a punch and kick button. And the attack and the normals that you get with the punch and kick buttons depend on how hard you press it.
Wow.
Yeah. It's weird. Like, man, what the...
Dude, that sounds like a meme. That sounds like a meme. Like when people say, like, you have to click the mouse really hard to do this attack. That's what it sounds like.
But yeah, and it's kind of like why, like in Street Fighter 2, they just jumped to like the 6-button layout. Because it's like, yeah, fuck having to press hard. Especially in like in a competitive game. But let's continue.
Around, special move motions became way more lenient, which allowed average Joes everywhere to do them. Fighting games got huge, and motion inputs became a thing in the 90s.
Chun-Li moves! Hold back, forward, and punch.
Mortal Kombat introduced some simpler inputs, while SNK went ham.
I actually want to go on a quick
input.
tangent real quick.
Yeah.
About 2 things. One about the pretzel, and 2 about MK. So one thing I really like about the in an interview with the developers for the original MK was that they were talking about stun. They were like, we love Street Fighter.
I remember.
We love the Dizzy, but we didn't like how that the Dizzy was in the middle of the match because it made the person it could make the person that got Dizzy feel like shit, and the person who didn't, who feel good. So what we did is we moved the Dizzy to the end of the match, and I was like, you guys are fucking geniuses, because I'm gonna segue this into a little point that I mean, we don't have to debate this, but like, stun in 2020 is fucking stupid. I'll leave it at that since we have to save on time. But the second thing is the pretzel input. I actually didn't. I always used to say like pretzels as a joke when talking about motion inputs, like, oh yeah, this game has pretzels, or like, yeah, you got to learn how to do pretzels or whatever. But, like, I didn't know there was an actual pretzel input
Yeah,
until
and
after
actually, that's
until
kind
after
of,
this video.
and from what I've researched a bit, it's kind of for good reason because I think it's Geese Howard that has pretzel motion inputs, or even Mai, Natsume from no, Mei Shironai from don't know what game she was originally from, but she was in like King of Fighters. I think she also has pretzel motions. But in the case of Geese Howard, from what I remember, the attack that's related to like his pretzel motion is very powerful, and I think even covers both sides. So it kind of makes it kind of makes sense.
Motion.
Yeah, the Raging Storm. I think it covers both sides.
Yeah, he's got a pretzel.
Yeah, it kind of make it because it covers both sides. It made sense for the devs to like give him a pretzel motion input. That way, it's like people can't abuse it because it's way too powerful.
Pretzel motion. What the fuck? Down left, and then you go half circle back, down forward with 2 punch.
I mean, I've had like what's this? I'm actually my original fighting game was like Blaze Blue, and they had like most of their supers were like half circle back forward. So it's like, doesn't sound that hard. Although I'd say, what's really hard with like KOF is like I guess it's leniency is one thing, and also just how tight the linking time is for like their combos.
Hey man, I'm down with some tight links. I'm totally down for that. Oh, hey, actually, I got a question for you. What is your this is a preference? But what do you prefer in your fighting games? Do you prefer a like a Gatling like cancel system like Marvel or like Guilty Gear or whatever, or do like A confirms into B and B confirms into C or whatever, or do you prefer like a Street Fighter like a Link style where it's like, you know, this button gives you like 5 frames of advantage, so you have to find a button that's like, you know, comes out on frame 5 or less, and then link that into a special. You know what I'm saying? Like, which one do you prefer?
I kind of prefer like the ABC, but one thing I really loved, especially because I played a lot of Uniclear back last year and up until like March, I loved reverse. I loved reverse beats. Reverse beats are so fun.
Oh yeah. I know what you're talking about. Because I did a tutorial for Eunice recently, and that game actually looks like it's got the most massive fucking skill ceiling of any fighting game.
I'd say it's fine. I'd say it's fine. The skill ceiling is fine. I'd say what makes I'd say what makes it interesting. I'd say what makes it interesting because of the existence of reverse beats. The game there's heavy emphasis in the game towards frame traps. So it's always you want to block, and then also because of the grind grid system, because here's how grid works. The grid system works in like Uniclear or Unist or Under Night. There's like a grid in the middle, in the middle bottom of the screen, and if you like deal damage and you're attacking your opponent, you gain some grid. But if you're also blocking your opponent's attacks, you gain grid as well. So then, and whoever gains the most grid within like a certain time period, they have access to the Vorpal state. And through Vorpal state, you can do what's this? You can do
the game has so much
chain shift. Yeah, you can do chain shift, and then chain shift is useful in offense by like canceling your attacks, so making them safe or extending combos, or you can use it defensively to. It's kind of like a V trigger. How sometimes you use V trigger defensively just to see what your opponent is about to do.
Yeah.
Essentially, it's like that.
Like you cut out. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
essentially it's like that, but you get it more consistently compared to like V trigger, unless V triggers, unless you have like you're using a character that likes to use his V skill a lot.
Yeah, I was actually talking about that in my stream earlier. I guess, geez, that was yesterday. That like people like Ryu and like Zangief, people that like use their V skill like a fuck ton are the only ones that actually earn their V trigger. And not to go on too much of a tangent about V trigger, but that would be a way to like make it like a good change to make it an actual good like well designed mechanic. Is because V trigger by itself is fine. You know, like you earn quote unquote earn a resource and then use that resource to do cool things, right? But the issue is that you don't earn it. You get it through getting your ass whooped, and all forms of combat mechanics
I mean,
are
in
objectively.
fairness, you also gain V trigger through blocking. So there's kind of that.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
Oh, you don't gain V trigger through blocking?
Nope. You only gain V meter through taking damage, using your V skill, and crush counters.
Oof, that's oof.
Yep. Yeah, it's pretty bad. But anyway, like yeah, to back up your point about using like V triggers and stuff like that, like the grids of Vorpal to like kind of like condition and bait your opponent to see what they're doing. Like I'll like pop V trigger like right in front of someone. I'll like throw a hard button on their block and then I call I call V trigger sometimes low tier god because your character will do the put their arms like up by a cross and then like bring them down.
Low tier god.
Also, that's what your characters in Smash Bros do when they drop shield. So I'll call that low tier god too. But anyway, so you pop the V trigger, you do the low tier god, and sometimes they'll try and steal their turn back with reversal, and you can use that as a conditioning tool.
Yeah.
And like I'll pop I'll do it on people too. If I know people are like antsy and they really like to like press buttons, and I know that they're gonna like do some shit like sweep into V trigger and then into like jabs and stuff, I'll just fucking DP him afterwards to steal my turn back, like bitch.
Yeah, man, I miss Under Night because ever since they fixed Enkidu, I've been wanting to play the fuck out of him, and it was like I was practicing the combos.
How do you spell his name?
Enkidu. He's basically like the shirtless guy with like he's got like white hair, brown skin.
Oh, yeah, he looks raw. Holy shit.
Yeah, he kind of became like my new main after like Gordeau. Gordeau is like the guy with the scythe.
The only two characters I even slightly know how to play are Hyde and Akatsuki, and that's because they're both Shotos. You know me, I'm a Shoto man. I'm a Shoto man, but I got a pocket gift that nobody knows about for when I have to play against Balrog in tournament.
Anyway,
because I do not know that matchup. Yeah. My bad. Tangents. Yeah. The guy with the orange hair, your mic is way too loud.
Even Sabin in Final Fantasy VI has to do a motion input if you want.
Do you need to turn it down a little bit more? You need to turn me down a little bit more, or do I need to turn my mic down a little bit more?
Hold on. I'm setting it right now to 75%. There we go.
Okay. I can turn my gain down if need.
All right.
RJ equals best girl. Yeah. Oh, jeez. That is way too. I've been reading the chat of. There we go.
But for new players, these motions can still be difficult and frustrating, so franchises made them more and more lenient.
Okay, I actually have something. Love Street Fighter 5. I would still think that goes Ultra Third Strike, but
a lot of people have been talking about like how Third Strike is often the best. Although I want to play 0-2 again because 0-2 looks like a lot of fun in like high level play.
But anyway, what I was getting at is that games in Polinius system often can hurt you in the end like there's this really hilarious video of Daigo Mehara trying to do jump in buttons and then Shoryu and then cancel Shoryu into super, but for the life of him he can't do it. And I have me and a lot of other people have the exact same issue. The game sees going from that crouch heavy input into the DP, and they're like, "Oh, he was trying to super. We'll give him super." No, damn it! So a lot of my links, I end up having to do double tap down corner motion for DP shortcuts, then into super because like sometimes the game just like will give you things you like. I tried to. Some guy was like in chip kill, and I knew he didn't have any meter for any V meter for V. This was today. Any meter for V reversal, and then he didn't have any critical art meter for invincible reversal. I was like, okay, bet. I'm just gonna wake up and super and he dies from chip kill, and it gave me a wake up deep dumbest shit in the world. So sometimes that input leniency system that Gerald showed, like the Raging Demon, which I know I do. I play Akuma. I do Raging Demon to mash the fuck out of my stick and still get deep. It can actually hurt you.
Yeah, that sounds like I'd rather. Yeah, that sounds like
always
something.
have accessibility.
Yeah, that sounds like something that ironically robs you of your control.
Yeah, and no, you're completely correct.
Entirely. But over 30 years later, games are still putting them in. And some
Sorry, can I just say about this frame? I love what they're doing with like the command list for Guilty Gear Strive, because they also did this for like Grand Blue, where they not just show you like the commands, but they show you what it looks like and what they do. Like that's
Grand
something.
Blue is awesome about that.
Like that's something that genuinely helps accessibility, and it also like helps with
But
like
it's not a way that reduces the skill ceiling, fucks over new players. Like it's in for everyone.
yeah, and it's like it also helps you decide what character you want to play.
No, it's sick. I'm all down.
and some people are wondering why.
Motion inputs are an ancient relic of fighting games, and they're just simply not needed for any balancing reason at all. It is completely lazy design to balance moves around difficult motion inputs.
Difficult.
For
Wow.
one, they're
Oh,
not that.
Hold on. First off, later on in that clip, he goes on to say, "Clip this, coat this, do whatever you want with this. I don't care anymore." And then, ironically, because he got featured on Scrubqoutes, he privated the video. Yeah, he privated the video.
Yeah, bro, you're totally not butthurt.
It's like, how do you say you don't care when you privated the video? Just, oh my god, oof. And it was a shame because it was like I wanted to kind of react to this because it's save for like the motion inputs part. I sort of agreed to it to an extent, but it was like yeah. Also,
I mean, SPDs.
actually, SPDs aren't even that hard anymore because you can even just save time by doing like half circle up forward. That's how lenient they are.
I mean, I'm saying like I've taught a lot of people fighting games, and they all get the quarter circle, if not on their first try.
Yeah, even back when I was like playing in arcades, I never had much problems doing like quarter circle forward or even like the Shoryuken motion.
Yeah, and Gerald's about to bring this up, but it's like, what motion inputs, dude? There's only like two, or like three that are actually like commonly used: half circle, quarter circle, and DP. Like sometimes you get like the arc systems one where you go like half circle back and then forward for like a command grab, like with like stuff. But Guilty Gear, right? But like most of the, or like sometimes you get the rare pretzel. But normally it's either quarter circle, half circle, or
And the thing is,
occasion if you're playing a grappler, you get the SPD.
but even then, it still revolves around circular motions. So
Yeah, and that's
there's a level of translation to be had from a quarter circle to a half circle to even just a full 360. But yeah, let's continue.
hard. People have called motion inputs a form of gatekeeping, but you wouldn't even be able to gatekeep children and dogs with this.
Wait. Wait. I want to go back a little bit. Okay. Oop. That was way too back. Where is the kid? Okay, Ramsar, do you know who this kid is? On the left.
On the very far left.
No. The one who has the headphones. The one whose headphones is bigger than his head.
I have no idea who that is.
That is Wawa. When Wawa was playing, representing France for this Grand Finals team tournament in the WGC for KOF 13 at the age of 8. Yep, that was King of Fighters 13. He was 8 years old when he was playing King of Fighters 13 in a tournament setting.
That's dope.
There's even
It's like,
dude, there's even
let
an
me see.
off-stream
It's
video
like,
of him. Sorry, there's even an off-stream video of him. There's even an off-stream video of him playing against Mago in KOF 13 and winning.
8 years old. Holy crap.
And you know what's
Dang.
dude, and you know where he is right now?
I mean,
He's currently around like 14 to 16 years old, and he's been consistently getting top 8 in Dragon Ball Fighters tournaments. And his main man is actually Base Goku. And it's like, if you see him play, it's like, holy shit, man. He's amazing.
That just like goes to show you that like doesn't matter. Like,
Yeah.
For example, like if someone were talking about someone like I think me and you were like laughing at this guy on Twitter the other day that was like motion inputs are ableist. Broly legs doesn't count. I was like, it's like he has to use his fucking tongue, dude. Like he can still do that.
Also, there's
discredit Broly legs.
Also, somebody in the replies shared a tweet of this guy who was handless playing a King of Fighters game. Yeah. Dude was literally moving the joystick without his hands.
What a
Hey. And also, another thing to note here, because what really got Wawa into like King of Fighters is because his dad loved playing King of Fighters. So,
no.
and the point I'm trying to make here is the thing that most people tend to neglect when talking about like accessibility is the drive of a person, or the interest, or how the interest of a person can drive someone into doing well.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
that's why sometimes you have that's why sometimes you have people who like do well and like who do well in school because they want to get like they want to be doctors, and you need to have high grades in order to get into like medicine and stuff like that. But yeah, let's continue.
Children and dogs with this.
Holy shit!
I'm sorry, it's just
that's godlike.
Yeah.
And you don't have to know that many motion inputs to do most things. The image of fighting games having an endless list of inputs is kind of misleading because most of the time people are doing one of 4 motions. Quarter circle, Shoryuken motion, charge back then forward, and charge down and up.
Exactly. The thing about these motions, they're all in one way they're all similar to each other, or when you have, as long as you understand these base motions, they end up translating to each other. Right? Or
I agree.
and even like say you look at you look at like Street Fighter 4 or Street Fighter 2, they had like hold down back and then down forward, down back, and then up forward. That's essentially a combo of these 2 charge motions. But like doubled.
Yeah, I mean, like I was like saying this earlier. Like it's Daryl's completely correct here. Like there's like like to all these difficult motion inputs.
Although the only thing I'd have to say about Street Fighter 4 is it's kind of fucked up with like the inputs, because the thing is, like, say if you want to do an ultra input, you have to press all 3 punch buttons or all 3 kick buttons at the exact same time.
Yeah.
And
Well, you could just use the macro.
yeah, and as someone who has played Street Fighter 4 back in the 09s, because I'm an 09er essentially. That thing is fucked me up during training mode.
Why did you not use the?
Because I had like
use the
super,
macro?
especially, and even in trials, it fucked me up because I didn't use the macro. I thought like the macro were for, especially at that time, I thought it was like, yeah, macros are for bitches.
You're like Vin Diesel in the fucking Fast and Furious movie. Like nitrous is for pussies. It's like yo, macros are for pussies.
These motion inputs translate to so many other characters and games that it'll allow you to play almost anything out there with a head start. But
this is the thing, isn't it? It's like when you do, it's very, translation is a thing. Even in like first person shooters. Like when you know how to play one, you kind of have an idea on how to transition to another. You just have to deal with different aspects, or even fundamentals, and even like gun recoil. Because it's only recently that I found out that first-person shooters actually had like gun recoil, which,
well,
in realistically, yeah. Although I guess for the I guess you could say for the most part it does make sense, since guns actually do have recoil because physics.
But like, good first-person shooter games will do recoil in a way that's skillful. So, for example, all the like let's take Counter-Strike or Apex Legends. Every single gun in those games, it has a recoil pattern that can be learned. So, for example, if you take a gun and hold down left click without compensating for it, it'll always kick in that exact same pattern. So, like the AK, I think it goes up right, back down left. No, it goes up left, back down right, right? Like, and it never changes unless you're not ADSing. But whatever. Point is that the recoil has patterns that you learn, and typically you just like drag down, but sometimes you just left or like. But how you don't do it, there's a how you don't do it, and there's a halfway how you don't. The how you don't do it is Fortnite. Fortnite has what's called gun bloom. What that is that there's no recoil whatsoever. Period. There's no recoil. What happens is that the more you hold down the left click, the wider the reticule will get, and that means your bullets will shoot somewhere in that little cone. Bullshit. It makes your
Oh my
bullets
god! So you can't control. Oh my god! That's shit.
Yeah,
that's
why
awful.
I quit Fortnite. I had an AR trained right. Here's the day I quit Fortnite. I had an AR trained right on this. Pulled down the trigger, got the first shot accuracy. Boom, 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 boom. All my shots flew right past his head because I broke the dice properly.
Jesus.
And then I alt that forward and all the game. Got Epic Games off my.
Jesus.
PUBG is the in between. PUBG vertical recoil is static, but its horizontal recoil is
Yeah. Yeah. Fucked up.
So whenever you're saying all shooting games have, some of them don't. Some of them have gun bloom, like Fortnite.
Let's continue. Yeah. Let's continue with this video.
maybe you're not good enough to do them every time. This is kind of the point. Special moves are powerful, so motion inputs determine what situations you can use the move. There's a game to this that's been played.
Harold also made a earlier video in terms of said probably it also makes sense that you as the player have to exert more effort in thinking.
Yeah, because
I'm sure it makes sense that Ryu is exerting much more effort in keeping 6 feet up in the air with an uppercut and he is just doing a crouch jab.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's like it kind of the whole thing about fighting games is they emulate martial arts to an extent. So it's like, of course, these powerful moves are not easy to pull off. Just like powerful moves in martial arts are not easy to pull off.
Like a roundhouse or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like spinning
About
game
30
jabs.
years, and it's called Ryu vs. Guile. Both have fireball and uppercut moves, but Ryu throws his fireball with a quarter circle motion, which can be done as fast as you can input the motion. But Guile's Sonic Boom requires holding a back direction for about 1 second before firing it off, also known as a charge motion. That sounds like it sucks for Guile, but his Sonic Boom recovers so much faster that if they both nullify each other's projectiles at close ranges, Guile will recover fast enough to smack Ryu in the face. This is called the
Yeah, I feel bad for what happened to Ryu in 5.
You know, he actually got really good buffs last season, and he's actually
Ah, that's nice.
a joke. So he got Donkey Kick in season 2, and then EX Donkey Kick got a huge buff. It used to you could only either do crouch jab to reset. You barely got any Oki off of crouch jab. You have to like only do crouch medium kick. But now he can either do heavy Shoryu for dash out, or light Tatsu will sacrifice a little bit of damage, but you get wonderful. He has that, and then they buff the ever-living shit out of his V trigger, which makes his Shoryuken and fireballs better. It makes them much faster. It opens up new combo routes. It opens up unblockables. It opens up a lot of things. So anytime he used it, so the V meter obviously goes slowly down over. When he used it, it would cut down that time by like a second or whatever, about 3 seconds. It would cut time off your V. Now it doesn't at all. You can just spam it for free, and it's just a timer now. Not even like a timer.
Oh,
He got some decent.
nice.
He can do on certain characters. He can do a lightning ball lock. He goes stand short fireball, stand short fireball, stand short fireball, and there's not enough of a gap for some characters. And just to take it.
Ah, that's interesting.
He's definitely better than he.
This is called the Shoto kill. But because Ryu doesn't have to charge his Hadouken, he will win the fireball war at further ranges. And when he holds
Sorry, because you've also been playing since you played Street Fighter 5. How true? Did they give that back to Ryu, like being able to beat Guile at longer ranges through like spamming fireball?
I would like to say so because Ryu's fireball is incredible, and his fireball game is very big. He's almost like a zone. Fireball game is Guile, man, they butchered that. Still great. He's still top tier. He's not really. He's really all rounder. I remember
Yeah,
1 or 2 when Guile first came out, we were amazed. We saw Daigo. We were not even amazed. Apple. We saw the way that Daigo was playing Guile. He was playing him like a fucking touchdown. You don't get these.
Yeah,
that's not Guile. Guile's the. I'm gonna sit back and throw these booms.
yeah, that's kind of what I've been noticing about Guile, and it's very. I feel like it's in 5. It's very easy for him to switch from from spacing to zoning to rush down really quickly.
He is a completely different character. 5 than he's got the V skills too, so he's got different.
Yeah, V skill 1 is really good.
V skill 1's good. V skill 2 good as 2. He's got he jump and then he throws a Sonic.
Yeah, and it's like downward. And essentially you can
Really good.
yeah, and you can fake jump ins essentially.
No, it's Guile's great. Don't get me wrong, Guile's great. He's just not the zoner. He's not the Ultra Guile. He's not the Turbo Guile. He's not that Guile. You're right.
forward to walk, notice that he's already doing the first input of his Shoryuken, making it easy for him to walk and Dragon Punch. For Guile, walking forward even for a split second can be scary for him because he loses access to both his special moves until he charges up again. But if
Sorry, you were saying something?
Yeah, I was just saying. I was just making. He didn't really need to pause, but I was just saying in Turbo, fucking block pushback is great.
Oh
Sweet.
yeah.
Like, I saw Guile do the upside down kick. So fun.
Yeah, that's the thing about Street Fighter 2. It wasn't really reliant on combos, and they didn't really do much with it and you didn't really need to learn frame data as much in Street Fighter 2 at that time because of how pushback worked.
But if Guile is holding down back, he's super threatening because he can charge both special moves at once. And because he's one input away from unleashing either attack, he can bust it out faster than any quarter circle or Shoryuken input. But of course, the downside of holding down back is that you can't move. The key to defeating Guile is knowing when he's charged his special moves or when he hasn't.
Dude, that was
I've barely scraped the meta, but of course, the downside of holding
I got it. I'll take it. I'll take it.
Anyway,
matchup in terms of motion
that clip-
inputs. But the point I want to make is that this
Where is it?
is the game.
hold
This
on. We
It was the Daigo and Tokido one.
Yeah. And also from that clip earlier, let's see. Where is it? Here.
There it is.
This looks like something from like a Hi Fight video. Because Hi Fight likes to
I don't
do
know
this a
what
lot.
Hi-Fi is.
A Hi Fight is this YouTube.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. I know.
Yeah, Hi Fight likes to like when he does these clips of like matches, he points out like say, okay, these are his options. Which one will he go for? Will he go for a forward, or will he go for an anti-air? Will he go for a shimmy? And stuff like that.
Or-
Yeah,
I'll
it's
tell
very
you what isn't it? Plus, yeah. Hang on. So this is
Well,
really
is knowing
good from Tokido here.
when he's charged
as
his
soon as he walked forward, he doesn't have a charge anymore.
when he's charged his special moves or when he hasn't. I
Yeah,
barely
that
scraped
was-
the
The
meta.
thing about Demon Flip is that it's basically to get in L free card. That makes sense. It's
Mhm.
basically like get into neutral free card. Because if they don't anti-air it, it's really hard to anti-air it. If they don't anti-air it, your palm. So if they block high, obviously it gets blocked, but it's X palm, so it's 12 plus.
You can't anti-air it, can you?
Base. Can you absolutely?
Oh, okay.
Just tough. And if they block low, then they get palmed. You can go for the risky version of it, which is the air grab, because Izukuma's so goddamn privileged. His demon flip you can do 4 things out of it: grab, you can dive kick, palm, or you can let it fly,
and then
he'll do
you
a
let
slide
it slide.
around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I play the character.
Barely scraped the meta of this classic matchup in terms of motion inputs, but the point I want to make is that this is the game. This is Street Fighter.
In every
Street
game.
Fighter. It's Street Fighter. It's these two guys.
But what would happen if a game like this had no motion inputs, like Fantasy Strike? In this game, special moves are done with the press of a button. Characters have fireballs and uppercuts, but they can be accessed much quicker. For example, Geiger has a flash kick-like move called Flash Gear, a fireball that recovers really quickly, and a Shoto Kill move that is also a back fist. But he's unique in that only he has a cooldown meter he burns by using specials, and by walking forward. Like Guile, he cannot walk forward and do special attacks. But Jaina's uppercut is also invincible, but she can one-button spam it as much as she wants. So what's the catch? Each time she uses it, she loses a bar of health until she has 1 bar left. At 1 bar, she can use it without penalty.
One thing I want to add, because I've been watching because I also watched Sejam play Fantasy Strike through like his VODs. The thing is, because you can use the macro to do like super for 1 button. One of the easiest things you can do, like say, if somebody's jumping, you can just react with jumping super. Because the thing about super, you just gain it over time.
Wait, in this game?
Yeah, in this game, Fantasy Strike. So then as a result, it becomes really hard to challenge. Like it can sometimes be hard to challenge opponents in the air, because then you can just react quickly with just 1 button that deals in this case 2 bars of damage, which is essentially 33% of your health.
Not sure how I feel about that. This is why motion input is important. I really outplayed this guy earlier on the stream. He had a little bit of health left. I had full meter because he was aiming his meter on either fireballs or on 60 up, so he didn't have any meter. I saved my meter, obviously. Then I had super, and I was just waiting. I was just waiting for him to throw a fireball. I was walking forward and walking backwards. I was shimmying and stuff, and I was ghost inputting the double quarter circle forward. All I had to do was press punch, and then it would pop the super. Hit it. I just like on your screen, it would look like my character was just like crouch, 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 crouch. So I was ghost inputting the super, and then he threw a fireball, and sure enough, I popped the super, and it killed him.
And that's
Like that kind of takes away, like, if it was in this game, you just button. Like, I don't.
yeah, because that's kind of the thing about motion inputs. When you know what the motion inputs of the characters are like, and you can kind of tell like what the player is sometimes doing by buffering, or like you can tell.
Yes.
There's a
I see
time
diamond players take advantage of the strategy.
I actually remember like seeing, because I had like, there's this one guy, this one match that I was commentating. There was somebody who was new and he was playing Arizona. I could tell that he was new because he tried to do stomp, but he was doing the down inputs for the stomp slowly. For context, Arizona's stomp attack is done by down attack. It's kind of like Dante's teleport in Marvel 3.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Down punch is common. I really lame.
Yeah, they did that. Yeah, that.
Awful. But it's also how G gets his charge in 5. Some characters in fighting games have it down. Like Grand Blue. Grand Blue has a decent.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like fine as long as it's.
Yeah.
I played MVCI for the first time for like 15 minutes the other day. I like uninstalled it. Never again. I was playing Zero, and like I practiced the fuck out of Zero and Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Learning lightning loops, but anyway, I kept trying to do Ryujin. It wouldn't let me do Ryujin. I was like, let me fucking do Ryujin. I love Zero. And then it wouldn't work. I was like, what the fuck? And I looked at my special moves, and I'm like, you are fucking kidding me.
Yeah, they did that for.
Are you
They did that for a
joking?
majority. For a majority of like the uppercuts.
DPs, yeah. I think Ryu's like the only one who still has Z motion. Go ahead though. We'll talk about that buffer super.
For being so easily accessed, but as you can see, the game is no longer the same. And of course, that's a good thing. Fantasy Strike is not there to replace Street Fighter. What's cool about the FGC is that there's
And that's kind of the general point, because you can have fighting games with one button specials. Power Rangers proves this, and it's a fairly successful game. Yeah, it looked. Yeah, I was watching like Wednesday night fights. It's really sick. It kind of sucks I can't buy it, but
why not? Is it locked in?
It's region locked. It has to do with like being part of like Southeast Asia, because Korea's part of Southeast Asia, and Korea has like their own Power Rangers, and they have like this thing. They have like this thing where they don't distribute, like, if you're in Japan, they don't really have like Power Rangers or Korean Power Rangers. They only have Super Sentai. It's like this licensing agreement that's done in order to make sure that the products don't compete within each other. Don't compete with each other. Like I can understand that as someone who does online retail, but it's like oof. Just oof. I kind of wish the game was either on GOG or the PC version had a physical release.
Yeah, because I mean, you could probably get the PS4 version, like I did.
I mean, the problem is I don't have a console, and I'm not invested to buy a console at this point.
I just want to play Bloodborne.
I mean, it has frame rate issues.
Put it on PC, and we want it on PC. Oh, bad.
of games.
Oh, that's gonna be it! And Terry takes it! 3-2 against YFT Hippo. What a tournament! Through hardship, I become stronger.
And Cocorn's win quote is what's gratifying about these games. Overcoming difficulties.
I'm sorry, this game is really something. It really looks something. This game is Daikyanta.
Oh,
And it's like there's a charm to this game. You can really tell that there's a charm to this game. It really makes me want to try it out.
In order to get stronger. If this sub-game of motion inputs were truly an exercise in meaningless difficulty, you wouldn't have young and old people from around the world still competing in these games for over 3 decades. Now people are literally...
I would kind of want to add to like young and old, because most of the time, like here in the Philippines, the most popular fighting game here in the Philippines is Tekken, not Street Fighter, unlike in the West. But in terms of like retro, there's a really big Marvel 2 community here in the Philippines. And one of the reasons is because the arcades here in the Philippines still have cabs of Marvel 2. And you have like, aside from like people who have played the game since like the 2000s, you've had new people also trying out the game as well. And it's like, and then that was kind of the beauty of it. All you had to do was just go to the mall and then play the game. It's like
your mall has a the
well, malls in the Philippines, because the arcades here in the Philippines, they are outdated. And they don't actually have any of like the new games that are ever released. If any, and the only thing that we actually get for new machines are Tekken arcade cabs. Because people love Tekken.
Oh yeah, you were just well, back when I used to live, there was an arcade like 30 minutes had a Tekken live. However, the fighting game arcade cabinet I threw the most amount of quarters in was an X-Men versus Street Fighter cabinet, way back and forth from it. And the gas station closed down.
Oof.
But it had a first Street Fighter arcade. Never got to.
Actually, how I got into BlazBlue, this was back in like 2009. I would go to like the arcade to this mall near. I'd commute to like this mall, and there was an arcade in like it was SM North EDSA, and they had like they pirated this arcade version of BlazBlue Continuum Shift 1, and they put it into like their cab, and I would play the fuck out of like BlazBlue Continuum Shift 1. And it reached the point where there were even people playing it, and I was like playing against them. Sometimes I'd win, sometimes I'd lose. But then eventually it got to a point where people were like, "Oh hey, there's going to be like this BlazBlue event in like this Otaku Fest in this other mall. You wanna check it out sometime?" And it's like, "Sure." And then after that, I started getting into like the BlazBlue community here in the Philippines. And I was even active in like Dustloop at that time. Man, Dustloop is it's a name I haven't said in years.
I don't even know what Dustloop.
Oh, dude, Dustloop is like the specific forum site that it's specifically catered towards people who played ArcSys games. So you had Guilty Gear, you had like the BlazBlue, and then you even had like Persona Arena.
Arena.
Yeah.
That one's coming.
It's just Yeah, this nostalgia trip is something.
I'll tell you my story about how I got into fighting games.
Yeah, let's finish this video because we're actually almost done.
Throwing charge motion sonic booms. Motion inputs are one ingredient in the spice rack that's created a special flavor that many of us have enjoyed since our childhood.
Actually, can we pause a bit here towards
Vanguard.
it's a frame. Oops, wrong one. Here we go. This frame. Just play it a little bit more.
Spice rack that's created a special
And
flavor
stop.
that many.
God damn it. Here we go.
I see it on my screen.
Okay, I'm also seeing it on my screen. So this specific frame, this is kind of, it's not just that. I remember like when looking at this video and I was looking at the comment sections, there's one guy who was like, yeah, but then almost all fighting games have these motion inputs. How are they varied? But then the truth is, the matter of fact is, because characters have motion inputs, they end up having varying playstyles. Like the way you use sometimes a quarter circle forward, or like even just having the nature of their special moves can completely affect how they play. Like say, I'm going to use Them's Fighting Hurts for example because that's the game I've been playing the most. Let's say you play as like a Velvet. If you do quarter circle forward and then A, or you quarter circle forward and attack, you get an icicle missile, but depending on the strength of the button, you can delay when it releases, because it's a delayed projectile. Or if you do quarter circle forward in the air, you can change the angle in which the ice missile fires.
Like in a more steep. Yeah. Akuma's air fireball has the same Street Fighter 5, or if you do the light air fireball, he'll throw it much closer to his feet. Heavy version, he'll throw it way further. I know what you're talking.
And then Velvet also has like a DP motion special move, where depending on what button you press, will either be closer or farther to her. So it's very effective for like her as a zoning character.
Sometimes special moves. Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. Like sometimes special moves aren't just like what naysayers are. I agree with Gerald. Sometimes it's gameplay. Like for example, other characters have different combinations of like whether you press light medium or light heavy or heavy medium and throwing EX kunai because it'll throw it at different.
Yeah.
Not just like the air fireballs, different.
And like say Guile, he's only had like 2 special moves for years. That's because he doesn't really need other moves.
I mean, he's got a metric shit ton of command norm.
Yeah.
And
it allows like his knee, his back leg kick, that actually allows him to keep his charge while moving forward.
Wait, you're talking about the upside down kick?
No, not the upside down kick. I'm talking about the knee. You know, the one where he moves forward with the knee, doing a knee attack.
Oh, that's. I might be tripping because in Street Fighter 5, that's bazooka knee, and him and Nash both have it. Here's the thing: in Street Fighter 5, it's forward light kick.
Oh shit! God damn it!
But they each have different military and purpose. Like Nash's with punishing, and also if you space it properly, it can't be punished. It's a quick just bang like press butt sex move. Then Guiles you typically use Guiles for moving yourself a little bit forward at the end of a combo to get. So they're not for that. You said it was back heavy kick, and that
no, it was back light kick.
Now it's forward light.
God damn it!
Yeah, they just don't want him to be a zoner.
But this is kind of what motion inputs bring out. Like, you can kind of still have them with like single buttons, but the thing about motion inputs, they actually make it easier to balance moves. That way, they're not as powerful.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, that was my phone. Give me a sec.
I'll just add a second. Don't have those end up doing all these weird things. Cool down.
Oh, you know how Grand Blue Fantasy Versus has like also one button specials,
Yeah.
but they have like
Grand Blue is
cooldowns.
Grand Blue might be like the best fight.
Well, here's the thing. At like high level play, most people don't care about the cooldowns because when you're in like high pressure situations, you might as well just do the one button DP. Because if you,
Yeah.
the thing
I
about
do the
like,
one button.
here's the thing, especially about the thing about EX moves in Grand Blue, it doesn't matter if you do the motion input or like the one button special for the EX version, because they all have the same they both have the same cooldowns.
Yeah. Well, the one button, the one button that. Wait, you said the one button is
Yeah.
is the same as EX.
Yeah, the EX version.
don't
No. The EX one button version has the same cooldown as the EX command version.
Oh, okay. Yes, you are correct. Well, it does have the same cooldown, but it does.
But even then, it's still most people at high level plays would still go for it. Because it's like because you have like this 1-2 situation where if you're one, you have like the one situation is where you have something you can do something quickly. And the two situation is where you need to think it through. Kind of like in a bullet hell where you just have to hold a button and then occasionally you press another button for grenades. That's essentially the same thing.
I totally get that. Like, I'm still having trouble trying to force myself to use fighter. I'm so spoiled by back heavy punch that like when I try and focus, like back heavy punch just like is muscle memory. It just comes naturally. See someone jump, I do back heavy.
And yeah,
But I
that's
have to like I have to let me finish this. So I have to like when it comes to medium DP, I have to process the time of like not only seeing them jump, but also I have to process the time of like, okay, now I have to do the DP. Crap, oh, he's already in, he already hit me. Like that's like what we
and that's the thing. Like if you want to be able to do a DP as an anti-air, you actually have to analyze your opponent as to like you have to analyze when they like to jump. That's the thing.
yeah, they condition him with like fireballs and stuff.
Unlike an anti-air, an anti-air normal, you're simply doing it out of a reaction.
Yeah. But in Grand Blue, anti-air normal are actually sometimes better than anti-air DP. They
Yeah,
just have
because
their
you can
pros and
get
cons.
hit confirms. You can get some
Yeah,
pretty good
you
hit
can,
confirms out of them.
you can do like with Grand, you can do light Tatsu with that, and then into auto combo into heavy Tatsu wall bounce. And,
Yeah, I used to do
but
that a lot in
what's
training
cool about
mode.
cool about deep in that game is that it one it causes hard knockdown and two it's full too as well. So like
Yeah, that's the thing though.
and one more thing that I was my tongue. Some DPs can't be blocked. So there's that too.
Yeah, and that's the thing with like what's this? With like DPs, because you get the hard knockdown, you can go for safe jump setups. And that's really powerful, especially in a game like Grand Blue.
They got the
Hoods. But no, it's not required to make an enjoyable competitive fighting game, just like cayenne pepper is not required to make good food. If fighting games stopped using motion inputs, it would be like if wing places stopped making buffalo sauce, which is sad because what's cool about chicken wings is that there's a huge diversity of flavors. This was Gerald from Corey Gaming. Thanks for watching.
And I'll end the video right here, because this is kind of the point. You can have fighting games with one-button specials. In fact, I've been enjoying
Smash has this. I love Smash.
Yeah, Power Rangers Battle for the Grid has it, and people love Power Rangers Battle for the Grid. In fact, I've also been playing Bayani a bit, and it's poverty as fuck, but it's still a lot of fun. Even with like just having one-button specials. Yeah. It's poverty as fuck, but it's fun. But the thing is, when you're like Bilbzy and you try to claim that all these fighting games need, or like even people now, especially in like the comment section in that video, they talk about the need to get rid of motion inputs in even legacy fighting games. People hate it because you essentially want to alienate a core audience that have enjoyed this.
Yeah,
if you
I think someone in the EFAP community, I think it was Drinker. Drinker was talking about like you're a cunt if you go into someone else's community, start like writing about how it should how they should make it. These people are just like they're just whiny bitches. They're like, oh, like I can't do the fighting game. I can't do the fucking inputs. So it must be some sort of ableist like bullshit. Like shut the fuck up, dude. But true. It's good.
And that's actually why.
Oh yeah, you're the one that with and I responded that that's a great tweet. That can't happen.
Yeah, I want to show chat what essentially I used
that's a very good tweet.
I used as my thumbnail for this stream.
Hobby.
Done. Let me just. Now, I don't completely agree with this. What's this? With like this image on the basis of like you can just reverse the genders and it'll still be the same thing. But the idea of it is essentially the same.
Wait, you talking to chat or you talking to me?
No. I'm talking to chat.
Yeah, that's what...
Here we go. So here's part 1. Hobby is started by close friends and typically kept within that circle. There are guidelines within the games and everyone involved is happy to follow them. And then we move on to part 2. A friend or acquaintance of the original members joined the hobby and begins to play regularly. Because he is a minority in this already small group, he largely has to acclimate to the group's guidelines quickly so that he may stay in. And with the third being, here is the typical tipping point. People who the original members are not familiar with begin to join, due to generally the Greens talking about it IRL or in social media. Because non-original members are becoming a larger part of the group, Browns don't feel as pressured to learn the strict guidelines of the group and game. So at this point, the hobby is mostly unrecoverable. Females join the vast majority or totally male hobby in an effort to not play the game, but to attract attention largely uncontested from boys. Because she is not there to play the game for the game's sake, she gives a half-assed and annoying attempt playing the game and largely impedes the whole process. She distracts the non-core members. So this is actually the first part I don't agree with, because you can generally use this for any gender. Like you can also have this for like a guy who doesn't really know how to make friends or doesn't know how to find people based off of hobbies that he genuinely enjoys.
Not necessary.
Yeah, and in my past experience, I've actually had like one of my sparring partners when I was like when I was like getting into them's fighting herds was actually this Indonesian girl I met through like the pixel lobbies, and she helped me a lot like learn the game. So here we go, and this is the part where I think Bilbzy lies. Finally, the near end, dude bros and alphas see the typical kind of guy that plays the game, thinks he is better than them, and feels he could attract the girls who are there for the attention. He is also not there to largely play the game, but even worse than the girl, he will likely chide and berate those who try to take the game seriously as nerds and tryhards, even though it is their community he is entering on. So this part, you can also, yeah, you can also switch the genders, because you can especially be like this, you can essentially be a bitch who just enters the community and then just forces people to change the rules of the game or whatever it is that they like to do. I'm sorry, you muted yourself?
Oh yeah, sorry. I thought you were.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, this is essentially what I feel like Bilbzy is doing. Because one thing I feel like when people say argue for getting rid of motion inputs, the first thing that runs through my mind is they want to get the win, or they want to get like all of the glory without the effort.
Yeah, no. I completely like. They're just like it's like the dude bro Chad guy, right? He's just like, yeah, bro, like you're trying too hard, man. Like it's just fun, whatever. Like, have you seen this little funny little comic where it shows these guys playing? And he's like, hey man, you want to play tic tac toe? And he's like, yeah, sure, let's play tic tac toe. And starts like drawing X's like all over the board, like, going out of turn. He's like, dude, what are you doing? This isn't how you play tic tac toe. And the guy's like, oh, sorry, I'm not a tic tac toe expert. Geez, you're making the game so crazy with your strict rules. Geez, have fun. Like, are you fucking serious? Like, that's like,
And
that's
you
like,
can't.
and also like, it's like gatekeeping, right? It's
Yeah.
kind of like, sorry, I wasn't talking to her. It's also kind of like that guy that TikTok that there was a guy that was watching the person practice a Fall Guys map. He was like, "Bro, like ruining the game. Like that's not what the game's supposed to be about. You're not supposed to try hard on it. You're supposed to be like good fun. Like what are you talking about, bro? Let the fucking guy do what he wants. If he wants to practice Fall Guys, he's gonna practice Fall Guys.
And you see that.
Like,
Yeah, you see this almost every single time. Especially like you remember that the Last of Us article, that Last of Us 2 article where it's like uh this people are pointing out that like Abby's muscles don't make sense, especially given the workout schedule that's shown in the game. And it's like it's just an asset in the game. Why are you taking it seriously? Which is frustrating because people don't really talk much about the gameplay of the Last of Us, and they often talk about the story.
I tried not to spoil Last of Us. Evan sent me his copy, and I still haven't played.
Yeah, but essentially, when people tend to focus on the story more rather than the gameplay, it's really easy to tell where the investment is at. So, of course, when you just say, "Oh, you're trying to get the story from just a video game asset," people get really frustrated.
Yeah. Like I don't know if you've seen. I know we're not the biggest fan of Donkey. There's a Donkey has this video called "Assassin's Creed is Boring." It's like a fundamentally flawed title, obviously. But anyway, although I agree. Anyway, there was this guy that was like staying. No, it was this portion. Anyway, it was in response to that. He was like, the comment was like read out in like the meme voice. And he was like, "Fuck you! You just don't get it." Like, most of us you only care about because you only care about the gameplay and not the story. Most of us gamers play these games for the story, and the developers work really hard on the story, so we don't care that much about the game. I don't know, dude. If I'm playing a game, probably
Okay.
gonna want to get it.
And this part, and when
Why
I
are you
say that,
gatekeeping?
when I say that essentially that Bilbzy is the dude, bro, because he's essentially wanting to move from this point to the next point that I'm going to be bringing up. At this point, the founding and core audience is so small in comparison to the mainstream later entries, they feel that the only way to keep the game alive, albeit butchered, is to casualize it and make it easier to understand. This generally does nothing but make the game less fun for the people actually playing it for fun, and does nothing for people who don't care about it. The game
Never
has
go to
become
the
an
step.
excuse.
Never go to it.
The game has become an excuse largely for people to hang out and flirt and smoke and drink or whatever the fuck. This is, and here's the thing about motion inputs, or you can get rid of the motion inputs. It still doesn't change the fact that players who've had experience with fighting games will still beat the new players. And and if anything, because there's no special moves holding back the old players, they can get away with like even more fundamental, or like they can learn quickly the tech of like the characters that they're learning and then just abuse it. And then and this is kind of, and there's also another thing.
Players are gonna find a way to be. Sorry, that's just how it is.
Especially in a competitive
like,
game.
People are always even in a non-competitive one. People are always going to find a way to be best at something. Just how human. Why, like it? I don't know. I'm not trying to get. Like capitalism is so fun. Like, or excuse me. Why capitalism is the only economic. It's human nature. Nature, good and want better. Want to work hard and better yourself, right? When it comes to fighting games, that's just people trying to get like handouts and people that well, it's hard to do it, so it shouldn't be in the game. Fuck you.
Like I've been playing,
Right.
yeah, I've been playing actually Legends of Runeterra a lot because it's a fun card game, surprisingly. Despite
Give me 1 second. Sorry, I'm gonna mute my mic. I have a
But yeah, essentially, this is kind of why I called Bilbzy the dude, bro, because he really wants to push for this point to casualize it, and people don't like it when you just butcher something that they genuinely enjoy. Like even just look at Star Wars and like Star Trek.
solicitor. Go ahead.
So, and here we are to like the last point, which is like very depressing. Now, the founders are so disenfranchised with the state of their community that they invested so much time into that they leave altogether to either abandon it or start their own, in which the cycle may repeat. What's left of the game, which was already largely ignored, will either collapse on itself due to lack of interest, and the dude bros and girls will leave to be social parasites on another community, or the game will continue to be casualized without the founders to the point that it hardly resembles the original game at all, and continue to grow in popularity until it gains media attention, forever destroying the hobby. In a sense,
I mean, this happened with Smash. I know it all too well, unfortunately.
and you remember like and if you've seen like the Diablo, if you look at like Diablo 2 and Diablo 3 for example, the change in style is so huge. It's almost like night and day. And the thing is, Diablo 3 doesn't lend itself to be horrifying or scary. Unlike even Diablo 2 was still scary, even though you could have powerful builds.
I thought you were going to talk about going from Diablo 3 to Diablo Immortal, where you casualize the game to fucking mobile.
Oh
You
yeah,
guys don't have a
that's
phone?
oh god, that's even worse. Oof. I also liked how they didn't have the Witch Doctor. He was the only class excluded.
I've never played.
in Diablo 3, Witch Doctor was one of the original classes, and it's like in Diablo Immortal they have almost all of the classes, even the Necromancer, except for the Witch Doctor.
You're just a middle figure.
It's sus as fuck, especially considering that
mean,
the game is essentially being developed by a Chinese company.
Be careful, man.
Uh.
But there's a
But yeah, it's sus as fuck.
I was gonna say something insightful, but I. Oh yeah. Or you could have movie Bob's take, and
Just call people
in
entitled.
in case of this Diablo business, it's less about you not getting a hypothetical something that you want, or about you getting mad at someone who's liking a hypothetical something that they like.
Yeah.
It's about fucking.
Yeah, I hate this. I hate this thing about, you're just entitled. Like, fuck off.
No,
You don't
you
even
are
enjoy-
entitled for coming into my shit and expecting us to change because of for like. So like okay, let's say it's like Smash. I don't a ton of like sexual predators. I come into my community and but we're playing a game where you have to press down, sideways, forward, punch. Throw a damn Hadoken. You're coming up here with your bitch ass going, oh, I can't do it, so therefore it shouldn't be a thing. Like, fucker, just leave. If like, why are you ruining my thing? Go away.
I originally thought that the control schemes of Smash were weird because people say that it's easy, but when you look at it more, it's not. Especially like,
What, are you using a GameCube controller?
well, I haven't played it yet, but even just like looking at how like the game works, aside from like having like the C stick for tilt, you I noticed that like the original inputs for like tilts and Smash, they were almost the same, but for like tilts, you have to hold the left stick, and like with Smash, you have to be really quick.
I never used tilt stick, and I quit Smash Ultimate, Smash, but I have always used. And with tilts, so here's the thing about tilts that pretty little secret. So with Smash attacks, obviously you get in a direction. People think that with tilts you have to do the same thing, but you don't like the stick. You put like 50% of the way or 30% of the way, whatever. Then press A. But actually, that's not true. You don't have to go like direction A. You just hold the direction. You're gonna hold it at 100%.
Yeah, that's
Fine,
kind of my
press
impression
A,
when they
fine.
say tilt. Like you don't really have to slow movement. Like you can get to the end
No.
quickly, but just hold on to it.
I'm recommend. Yeah. Okay, never mind. Like when I'm doing like an up tilt anti, I have tap jump turned off. I'll just hold up, wait for the opportunity, and just press A. Or like if
And
I'm doing a forward tilt, I'm obviously walking forward to space. Forward tilt.
and originally I thought it was weird, but the more I think about it, it kind of makes sense. Especially since in order to get rid of a stock, you tend to rely more on smashes. So a move that is essentially a stock remover when you have like when your opponent is at the right percentage, it kind of makes sense. I can see why the control scheme is like that. I guess if anything, the only thing I found weird was like why Smash has like 2 jump buttons. And I understand that in Ultimate they added hops. They added the hop macro with like the double jump button, but I still find it weird as to like why you even have 2 jump buttons.
I fucked jumping in. But yeah, short hopping is like really hard in melee, probably a little too hard.
Up to some extent, I can see why, because you know KOF, right? You know how there's like short hops in KOF.
I do. There's also short hops in
Smash.
yeah. Well, I said Mortal Kombat.
Ah, right. The thing about Short Hops and King of Fighters, they are fast as fuck. And you know that kid I was talking about earlier, Wawa? If you've seen him, if you've seen his set, his run against, he essentially beat 3 players before losing to someone else. Like, he was doing short hops consistently, and he was controlling space with short hop jumping C as Kyo, vanilla Kyo.
Hard.
It's not just really hard, but it's like he's doing it consistently so that it allows him to control space. So that essentially means as an 8-year-old, he understood how neutral works, and he even had like the awareness to, and if you watch his set, you even see him having the awareness to react properly. Yeah, it's crazy. And he's like now he's almost as old as like my boss's son. My boss's eldest son. And he's like he's getting top 8 in like Dragon Ball Fighters tournaments. And if you've seen his set, he can dominate. Crazy.
It also blows out of the water that like art motion abilities like okay.
Now, what's this? I was originally going to like also play like the second video about fighting game inputs are actually genius. But I don't really have the time right now to discuss it because I actually have to wake up early for tomorrow. Because the thing is, I have to help.
In the Philippines?
It's 11 p.m. right now, and the thing is, I have to wake up really early because I'm helping my mom move into a new house. And tomorrow morning is like is when another van will help bring in the stuff that she packed up. So I need to help out unpack some stuff. So I don't know when we'll continue this again, but what's this? I'll try to aim for like Friday or something, or maybe like or even like Saturday morning in my time. That way we can continue the stream. Actually, I'm not sure because usually Saturday morning is when I try to push for like free for full fights. So maybe either Friday evening on my end or like Saturday evening. So yeah. So thanks everyone for stopping by, and hopefully I'll see you guys again next time.